Hello, my name's Derek Walker. It's the 4th of April 2019. This is the first of my videos that I'll be putting onto the channel Open Healing, which is around discovering or just discussing, presenting alternative ways of healing that are a little bit out there, I guess, but certainly different to the mainstream medical approach that we have these days, because there's more to being healthy than just taking tablets and having surgery. I'm not saying that system's invalid at all. I'm saying that there's a role for it, but there are other means to bring health into your life. And these things that I'll be discussing in these videos are just the things that I've discovered through my own journey. It doesn't by any means say that it's the only way or it's the best way. It's just what I've learnt and what I can share with people if they're willing to listen to alternative perspectives. So anyway, my situation at the moment is I had 6 head injuries within 12 months back in 2005, 2006. In October 2006 I was diagnosed with post-concussion syndrome, which is a culmination of delayed onset of concussion symptoms. That ended my high-flying career as a chartered accountant in a worldwide international firm in Auckland, New Zealand, because I couldn't deal with the stress nor the hours, because my brain wouldn't function and I couldn't observe and sit in front of computers for more than an hour at a time as a result of the head injuries. So it made my job very difficult for me to complete, and with agreement with management I had to leave the organisation and find some other path. So that put me on a journey of trying to get healthy from my head injuries, working with concussion specialists in Tauranga, New Zealand, my hometown, where we tried to look at different therapies and psychology and physio to try and get some recovery. At that time, the knowledge of head injuries was quite limited. There wasn't much other than you've got what you've got. This is very simplistically speaking. You've got what you've got. Your body will recover for the next 12 months, and that's kind of where your body gets to for the rest of your life, and that's about it. That was the predominant thought at that time for the research that I did. There was a couple of pieces of research that showed me that there is the ability for the body to keep healing. I didn't quite understand that at that time, but the body does keep healing if you give it the ability to heal. So anyway, that I took a number of jobs just to keep my chartered accountancy career going, working and making some money to be able to live, but it got unsustainable. So I made a decision in my life to move overseas to Canada, where I could get a good paying job until I was 40. I was about 35, 36 at the time. Looking at getting a good paying job, do that till I was 40, and then have enough money to come home to New Zealand and buy a piece of land and retire. And that was the biggest expectation or the desire that I had for my life. I didn't think I could ever achieve much more, because that's all I was capable of, and it was going to take a lot of effort to get through those last 4 or 5 years to be able to come home and retire. But I was severely underperforming and struggling with life, not knowing what was going on or where to go to. So I headed overseas and got a very good job with a mining company where I was a chartered accountant in their financial shared services division, and the life started to come back again a bit. I started to get a bit healthier, and I'd met a woman that I found quite appealing, and my career was taking off. I was getting jobs that I wanted to be doing that were around my area of expertise. I was certainly getting paid well for it and living a lifestyle in the mountains that I thought was pretty good. I got injured again with the head injury, and this time it was pretty bad. It was very difficult for me, it was very difficult for my partner at the time, it was very difficult for my employer, and looking back it probably wasn't the best thing. The way I handled it, I did it the best I could at the time, but looking back on reflection, it wasn't very fair on a few people in my life, and for that I apologise, but I did the best I could at that time. So that ended my career. I tried to return to work, but I couldn't sustain the stress levels, I couldn't sustain the work requirements, I couldn't deliver, and my own standards precluded me from being ineffective at my job and holding down a position of responsibility. So I had to let go of that. I couldn't do it. So my employers and I ended my employment with them, and I stayed in Canada and thought, what am I going to do with my life? And so I decided, and this is all very summarised, but I might go into it in more depth in the future, but at that point in my life I wasn't sure where I was going. I thought life was pretty much over. I couldn't perform. I had some money in the bank savings that I could live off for a while, but there was no joy in my life. My health was terrible. My relationship had fallen over completely, and what is my outlook for work like? I don't know. Where do I go? Nothing was working out for me. So I sat down one night, and I remember sitting in my front room saying, if my life is going to be short, because that's honestly where I thought I was, it needs to be fun. So what is it that I've always wanted to do that I've never done? So I went out and sat down and went to metaphysical. I'd always had a connection to spirit. I thought I'd seen ghosts and stuff while I was growing up, and it always intrigued me. So I went and learnt about angels and empathy and being an empath, which is all very, very helpful, with a woman called Angel Rogers in Calgary. She opened my eyes a bit, and I met some wonderful people. Another one was Dana Wallace. I met her at the same time, and she's become a close friend. So anyway, I started to explore that and started to find something that brought me joy. I had, at that time, persistent headaches. I'd had headaches for probably 5 years straight at that point. This is 2011. Pretty much, yeah, since the head injuries back in 2005-06, I'd had headaches, fuzziness, lack of clarity, and no drive to do anything. And my brother had learnt Reiki, energy healing, Yasui Reiki. So I went off and discovered that. And I met this guy who sat me down in the room, and he says, how are you feeling? And I said, I've got a headache and I'm fuzzy. And he says, okay. And he sat in front of me, asked me a couple of questions, and within 10 seconds I had no headache. Whoa, what is this? He did ask me some questions about my emotional past, when the incident happened, and then sent some energy to me. I couldn't believe it. For the whole weekend I had no headache, and when I was driving back to my town that I lived in Sparwood and Fernie in British Columbia, the guy I was travelling with, my mate, I said to him I couldn't believe it, this guy had got rid of my headache and I was good. Anyway, about a week later the headache started to come back, so I thought, well, I need to learn this. So I went off and became a level 1 and 2 practitioner for Reiki, and started to feel a healing significance or an improvement in my life. So I started to investigate that more and started to do healings, and then I went to a spiritualist church in Calgary where I started to learn about mediumship. That's when my eyes started to open up, that the world's far grander than we can imagine. I started to look at past life regressions, I started to look at parallel dimensions, quantum physics, trying to understand more about consciousness, mindfulness, all this stuff, Eastern philosophies, and just started to really throw myself at it, and my health started to improve. By no means had it got to the point where I was back to 100%. I even went through the headache support system they had in Calgary, where you monitor your headaches, have diaries, and you work through the medical profession to see if you can get some relief from them. Even to the point where I had Botox injections all around my head, and all that made me do was feel very, very sick. I never got a solution from mainstream medicine. I always got lots of tests and lots of evaluations and lots of reports, but my physical presence never changed as a result of being interacting with them. So that was good. I started to explore life and started to feel a connection inside of me and understand as to the type of person that I am that I'd never seen before. I've done lots of psychiatric evaluations, and I've done lots of personality evaluations with my career that told you this is the sort of person we need in the career and that's what you should be. I never looked at it and thought, well, this is the type of person I am, I should live the life that suits me. I never looked at it that way, but I started to with this exploration into the alternative. I met another lovely lady, Alicia Alibi, who showed me about meditation and guided meditations, and a very, very sweet woman, and introduced me to essential oils, which also helped my development. I then was doing okay. Life was kind of coming back, and I started to move into the service, offering Reiki as a service to the public. And then an unfortunate event happened. My sister passed away in a car accident. And so with that, I came home for the funeral and decided that I needed to be in New Zealand with my family again. It was too hard to be overseas while we were grieving for that process of loss. So I came home again, and that was challenging because everything in my brain was saying don't go home, but my heart was saying I needed to. I came home pretty good with the world. I had a grasp of that I had something to offer in this world, and I could do it. I could offer something and be a constructive member of society with my life. When my sister died, I came home, and I came home in August. In October, I had another head injury. It was a very simple one, the car boot, or the trunk from the North American people. The trunk of the car, I had lifted it up to get some stuff out of the car, out of the trunk, and the wind blew it shut and knocked my head. I thought that was truly the end. I thought my life was over and that I'd suffered brain damage and I was never going to recover. That was a very tough time for me. Of note interest was that I met the lady from the concussion specialist that the health system in New Zealand referred me to as a result of my head injury. And it was the same lady who was my case manager 10 years before. And the knowledge had been gained and grown was significant since my first encounter with the system. This woman was brilliant. She was very understanding of my needs. She was very understanding of my situation because I'd been through it all. I knew the recovery program that they had. But she put me into a physiotherapist, and I must get his name. That helped me immensely. He had studied a lot of concussion issues, done research with international speakers and presenters. And his belief was that when the body is injured, you restore it back to the way it was prior to the injury physically. Whereas before that, the theory that my encounter with the system, before that the theory was that once your body is like it is, it just stays there. So he started to poke and prod and twist and pull my neck and back and shoulders and stuff back into place. Within 6 weeks of seeing this guy, I could feel the joy returning to my life. I felt like I had made a recovery. I was at about 80% of my full capacity going, wow, this is awesome. Still couldn't sit in front of the computers for a long time, but also making a decision that my life can't be involved with sitting in front of computers doing stressful work that isn't conducive to my health. So I truly appreciate this guy for helping me out to recover my health. That's the biggest step physically I've taken in my life, was working with this physio. I put all my spiritual stuff on the back burner. I tried to make it happen. I opened up a clinic to try and treat people with Reiki. It just never took off. And I think a lot of that is that I wasn't ready for it yet. I thought I was, but I wasn't. I was trying to make things happen. Anyway, October 2018, I got diagnosed with bowel cancer. The biopsies and the bloods are all clear, but there is a growth there as identified through a colonoscopy. It's a 4 centimetre growth, well, it was a 4 centimetre growth on my part where the rectum comes into the colon. So the doctors immediately suggested surgery. My gut feel and my intuition was saying no, surgery is not the option. There's no way for me to do surgery. It is not my path forward. So I was pretty definite about that, and they made their views expressed very clearly, very professionally. I can't criticise the guys at all. They were very professional in providing solutions based on what they know and what they have in front of them in terms of tools and where the system is at. My reason for not doing it was that between identification and surgery, some people it's very close. For me, I've got a gap because it's not cancerous yet, and it's not something that's very urgent. There is a time frame to it, definitely, but there's something I can do outside of that, those 2 points that I'm able to do to heal myself. So it's now April. October I was diagnosed. The biggest thing that came up for me was getting my body detoxed. I saw a naturopath who was just brilliant. Her name is Janice Ann Priest. I am so glad I found her because she's opened my eyes up to a lot of things. My self-belief has to be strong. Obviously I have to answer a lot of questions in my own life about life and death, whether I'm happy to die or whether I'm not happy to die. I'm going to say I don't want to die, but if that's my journey because of the choices I've made, then that's the way I go. I don't believe that we die and that's it. I believe we are eternal. Through my experiences I've uncovered this. we are eternal, and therefore when my body dies, I don't. So there's nothing to fear. Death is but a transition, it's not the end. So I'm on this path of recovery. So detoxing my body, lots of green drinks, lots of healthy food, a significant lifestyle change. I've dropped 30 kilos. 30 kilos since June 2018 to now, April 2019. But that was with the help of a women's dietary program, a nutritional program I should say. It's not a diet, it's a nutritional program by Ra Pullman, which has helped me significantly to get my health back in terms of my physical health. I'm 30 kilos lighter, way more happier, and able to do a lot more with my life than I've ever been able to do. I've never been this thin, but healthily. I've been skinny from stress, 93 kilos. I'm now 89 kilos, 2 more kilos to go to get my desired weight, but I've never been this healthy with it. So Ra Pullman's eating plan, and she offers it free on Facebook. It's not free, she offers it on Facebook in her group. You can look it up on Facebook, and it's a nutritional program for 11 days, and I guarantee, well, I don't guarantee anything because I can't, because it's up to you to decide whether you want to do it or not. But if you follow it and listen to her guidance, you will see significant benefits. So anyway, that was the eating part sorted out. I had to take a whole lot of supplements through which I understood and gained knowledge through Janice Ann Priest. And then through my own work, being that I have essential oils, Young Living essential oils are the ones I use. By no means are they the only option. There are other options out there, but that's the ones I use because I've had an experience with that company that draws me in that direction. The oils that I was allowed to use were all around emotions. It wasn't around the physical effects of cancer. So that made it pretty clear that my situation is predominantly emotional. Bowel cancer is a result of frustration, resentment and anger from the past of not being able to live the life that you desire. I lived my life for my expectations of what people wanted me to do. I was never being true or authentic to myself. That builds up resentment, that eats away and forms masses and forms cancer. This is metaphysically speaking, so it's not the traditional medicine, the traditional Western world's view of cancer, but that's the perspective that I'm working with. So anyway, now I've got to a point where my body's pretty healthy. I know I'm healing because I can feel it, which sounds odd, but that's what I can do. And as you hear your body and get proper nutrition into it, your body actually starts telling you what it needs. So anyway, now I got to a point in the last few weeks, I quit my job, my employers, I quit my job at the end of January 2019. My relationship I walked away from because I couldn't cope with it. And I also, my health, I needed to make a decision for my health. My primary focus is my health. So everything in my life that was causing me distress or pain, I had to let go of, and I did. Spent 2 months just travelling around, doing fun things, trying to meditating every day, doing yoga every day. These are two key components of my life that I need to do every day to be healthy. And then working on my emotions and my perspective of where I want to get to, what I'm trying to do. It's now the end of the start of April, and I'm going home today to get back into life and work on my emotions. I did a session with my aunt, who's a homeopath, to understand what is blocking me. Now, she does more than just homeopathy, but that's where I came to her through. The key thing was emotions. My emotions still play a huge part of myself, and it's how I view the world. I've always had a pretty pessimistic view and criticising others. My career taught me to critique and criticise what was going on because you have to do that to improve your outlook, but I always knew that was wrong. It didn't feel right. So I'm having to let go of the way I view the worlds. I'm letting go of that. I'm now trying to see the world in a positive look. Everything that happens to me is for a reason. Everything. It's all positive. We might not think it is because we've been conditioned that certain things are good and certain things are bad. But right at this point, my emotions are what are holding me back. In terms of my emotions of the past, how I perceive my childhood, the hurts that I suffered, the resentments I hold. So I'm letting go of those. And this is why I sat here and done this video. This mountain, Mount Ruapehu, and the Tongariro district of Aotearoa, New Zealand, is my strength point. I come here, not as much as I would like, but I come here and I connect with my life. I connect with me. I've walked around it, I've been to the summit, I've sat on it, I've done the Tongariro crossing, which is over here to my left. It's where the Lord of the Rings, some of the epic from the Lord of the Rings epic was filmed here. Mount Doom is just over here off camera. And the waters here are clear and crystal. The snow on the mountain falls every year. You can ski up here too. It holds an important place in my life. The river that I belong to is the Waikato River. It forms from the snow that comes off this mountain, from this area, the rain from this area, into Lake Taupo, and then through the Waikato Lake out to the ocean, to the Tasman Sea. It's my river. It's the first time I've ever said this out loud to anybody, but it's important for me. It's part of the new beginnings that are happening in my life. Astrologically, there's a lot going on in our world at the moment. For me, I'm becoming a new person. I'm being my authentic self, and I'm putting myself out there and saying this is who I am. This is not a challenge, it's just something I've always avoided. So my mountain behind me supports me on this. It represents nature. The mountain goes high to the heavens. The rain, the water, and I'm a water sign, I'm a Cancerian, feeds from the skies to the mountains, to the land, to the rivers, to the lakes, to the oceans, back up to the skies. The flow, the circle of life. It's a little bit off topic, but all that to say, my perspective on life has changed massively as what I've been going through. I'm so happy for my life that has unfolded, for the challenging diagnoses, for the challenging life situations, because I've found the authenticity in being me. I've found the authenticity in working with nature. I try to swim in the ocean every day because that helps me heal. Human beings have got so far away from nature that we don't know how to heal ourselves. We rely on tablets and pills and somebody else to tell us what is necessary. We use other people healthily. We should use other people for guidance and direction and for expertise. But at the end of the day, we are responsible for our health. It's our decisions that make our lives, not somebody else's, it's ours. I'm 100% responsible for the life that I've lived and the life that I've perceived. Those are huge things to acknowledge. Difficult for some people and somewhat of a process for me to work through. But that's where I've got to. Life is ours. Life is sacred. It's my sacred life, not somebody else's. I live it the way I need to live it. Hence I'm sitting on an old broken up gravel road looking at a mountain that I love, living out of the back of my car, eating very well because I've gone organic and I know through my nutritional program what better food is, and my body tells me. So it's an exciting journey I've been on. I've been quite down and despondent about it, and I'd say in a depressive state. I've never taken pharmaceuticals for my depression because it doesn't feel right to me, and it's not, if I take the pharmaceuticals it masks the problem, it doesn't resolve it. So I've never gone down that path. So I work through it because I know I'm stronger than that, and I know that's not my path. My path is to work through this. So these videos that are coming up now will just be things that I feel like I need to share. Hopefully you'll see me on many different parts of the planet, living the life that I truly want to be living, sharing with you the things that I've learnt. So that's a bit about me, who I am, where I've been, where I've come from, a bit about the perspective I see of the world these days, and being authentic with you. So, yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you to the mountains, to the Earth Mother. Thank you to our ancestors that walked this land before us, the ones that have walked here and guarded it and looked after it. And thank you to the people that are on it now, guarding it, living their life to the fullest. So hopefully there was something in that for you, otherwise this is a big ramble. I'm sure it's not. There is something there, I'm sure. Just know I've been through a lot of different treatment types. I've seen a fair bit of the world. This is now 2005 I started getting injured. It's now 2019, so it's 14 years of trying to find health. And I finally feel like I'm getting closest than I've ever been. And living the life that's authentically me. Even though diagnosis doesn't look like it's right, it feels right, and it's where I need to be learning. So anyway, on that note, I am going to say goodbye for now and hope to see you on the next video. Take care, ka kite, and be well. Thank you.